Do you think that now is a good time to buy a house?
Yes, if you're financially ready. Now, I still think I believe in the economy and the U.S. housing market will continue to go up over time. I don't think houses are going to be significantly cheaper in any point in the future, and history has proven that. I don't think there's going to be another 2008, fingers crossed, because we've solved a lot of the problems that caused that. But I think when you have no debt, a fully funded emergency fund, and a down payment, you are financially ready to buy a house.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't try to time the market and wait for the interest rates to move a certain way. I would go ahead and do that. We say, date the rate, marry the house.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? 84% of people say that now is a bad time to buy a house. 84%.
Is that because of prices and interest rates?
Yes.
Okay.
Interest rates were the number one reason that overtook home prices. So it's because of interest rates that that number is so high. You know, the last time it was also similarly high?
When's that?
2010.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting. So after the housing crisis.
Yes. A lot of people also felt now is a bad time to buy. So it's very interesting because I was having a discussion with somebody.
Best times to buy.
Exactly.
Looking back.
So I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and we were talking about how so many people say now is a bad time to buy. But if you typically do the opposite of what the mass seems to think is the better option, usually that kind of works. Like, to me, it's hard to wrap my mind around it when I see home prices so high, mortgages so high, the cost of renting so cheap relative to that. But, when you look at what most people are doing, if you just do the opposite, in most cases, you're better off.
That's fascinating.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens over these next 10 years. If interest rates come down, I guess there's a chance.
Yeah.
Everyone rushes into the
here's
market.
The thing, and you can tell me this,
Yeah.
if interest rates go down, we're probably going to see a spike in home prices.
Yes and no. The variable to that is how many sellers sell. So right now we're seeing high home prices because there's not a lot of
wants to
inventory.
sell because they're low interest rates.
But if interest rates go down to about 5%, they're saying that's the magic number where all of a sudden if I have a 3.5% mortgage, it doesn't hurt as much to give that up for 5%, but it does to 6%.
Interesting.
And so they're saying 5% is the magic number that would prompt more sellers to sell who are thinking about selling, who have those handcuffs. So there's a chance interest rates come down, buyers come in the market, but there's a lot of sellers who say, oh, finally, I could, afford to buy something else and not have to worry about it. I don't care about giving up my 4% mortgage for 5%. It's not that big of a deal. So maybe the market gets flooded with inventory. There's also the theory that as that flood comes in, more sellers will say, oh, the market's going down. I'm thinking about selling in 5 years, but let me sell it now really quick before values go down even further. And my neighbors are selling, and let me
get spooked.
Let me beat them to it, and I'll price myself a little lower than they are. There's a chance. There's also a chance people say, I'm going to hold on to my house and,
see what happens.
And buyers have more purchasing power and values go up. It's a total coin toss. I wish there should be a way to figure out what's going to happen in this and run the numbers.
But I think the key is we're not going to see a crash, regardless of what your thumbnail said. But I know what you say in the video. It's not going to happen.
Gotta watch the
But
video.
the crash is happening. And I'm like, no, it's not. Don't lie to me, Graham. So I still have faith.
The shocking thing is that monthly payments are up 70% since 2020. Now that is low in terms of monthly payments.
Sure.
But when you think 70% more.
Those interest rates,
years.
it definitely compounds that payment and it hurts people and it makes it less affordable.
But at what price, at what point does that impact prices? I mean, a 70% increase in monthly payments from those who bought 3 years ago to today.
Yeah.
How much do home prices have to come down to balance things out, if at all?
Only time will tell. But I do feel for people who want to be homeowners and it's just feeling like more and more, they're just so sad and hopeless at this point because they need a huge down payment and they're still straddled with debt. And so the only thing you can do is try to get out of debt, get the emergency fund, and build that down payment as high as you can get it to where you can then afford the payment.
And what would you say to someone who says, I just want to rent?
I have no problem with renting. I think renting is very wise, which is another hot take. I know some people agree, and you'd probably be with me on this one, but renting is buying yourself patience. And I've seen people who did it the other way. They said, well, I told renting is a waste of money. I'm going to go buy a house. Then they call the Ramsey show, and they're like, hey, we're screwed. This mortgage payment is 65% of our take-home pay, and life happened, and we don't know what to do, and now we're looking to sell because we're in this bind. And so I'd rather you do it with patience and buy it when you're ready, even if the price is higher, the interest rates, whatever. Because when you do it and the mortgage payment is that much of your take-home pay, you can't live the rest of your life. And so you have no peace. Even though you're a homeowner, it's the American dream, your life sucks. And so we've just seen too much of the other side of when things don't work out.